Welcome to Season 3 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, where language learning meets innovation, culture, and pedagogy. I'm Mike, your host, and together we'll explore groundbreaking strategies, challenge traditional methods, and empower educators and learners alike. So whether you're a teacher, a student, or a language enthusiast, get ready to dive into insightful discussions, expert interviews, and practical tools that will transform the way you teach and learn languages. So grab your headphones and let's get started. My wonderful listeners, thanks for tuning in to this second part of this amazing conversation that I had with my dear friend Yolanda Nakari, talking about multilingualism, bilingualism, and everything here. So, please, everybody, let's keep going. I really hope you can keep having fun in this one, and of course, learn more of this thought-provoking conversation. So, without further ado, let's keep going with the part 2. But of course, I mean, if we talk a little bit about the AI, of course, it is solving a lot of things to teachers. It's a lot of time saving.
Yeah.
For exercises maybe, or to do one thing, or just to correct something, or whatever. It can
Yeah. No, it
literally help you.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing, right? That's something that will never be replaced, a teacher
Yeah.
or someone like that.
Yeah. I think what it will it's a tool. It's to help, and I think more students. I think they're going through a phase now. They're trying to do less with they don't want to have to do so much with teachers, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that more and more will realize that it's not enough. It's not enough. I mean, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just chat. You want to be able to talk, right? And
Exactly.
you do need help with someone to be able to talk. And
Definitely.
yeah.
So talking about this one now, going back to the multiple languages and all that. So knowing multiple languages impact cultural empathy and bias. What do you say about it? Do you really think these impact the cultural empathy and bias by being
Um,
by being multilingual?
yeah. But being multilingual, um, I think it definitely impacts. I think it reduces. My perception is that it reduces bias. Um, I think, and I think it increases empathy. I think there's nothing like being able to communicate with someone um, in and not to have a direct language. It doesn't mean that you know their native language, but
Hmm.
that you have, like, for English being
Of
you know
course.
the that you can connect with them and discuss with them and and have some sort of understanding. Uh, uh, to ask questions and try to understand their point of view. Uh, Whereas, like, if you didn't have and for example, what I think is hard, like, okay, let's say you have a translator, it's great,
Hmm.
but I think it's so nice if there's a common language, one language that someone can connect with. Uh, and that will bring more understanding, I think.
Yeah.
And you could have someone translating for you, and into your, but I think then that's a step removed. And yeah,
Just
that's my
having like a
perception.
lingua franca then.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
English,
I think,
lingua
yeah,
franca.
Like English
Yeah.
or whatever it
But now,
might be.
but now we have something here about multilinguals, and maybe you agree with this one. Because yes, lingua franca actually helps a lot. But what about these people that have this talent to learn multiple languages?
The
And
the
here comes,
polyglots, yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
polyglots, man. it's amazing how they actually speak so many languages. It's five
Yeah,
languages is like a lot already.
a lot.
Three,
Yeah,
three is a lot already.
yeah, I
But
know.
five,
Three is yeah,
it's just
that's
like I don't know if you
amazing.
remember the Pope John Paul II,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He spoke. Yeah,
12.
yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah. Now that definitely changes your perspective. You know why? Because then he's able to speak to more people in their
Yes.
language. And I know, so I have an East German friend. His mother didn't speak any English. I can, I know a little bit of German. I can understand some. So then with my little German but but uh I know that I was wishing I knew more because she didn't speak any English at all.
Hmm.
And I just so we had a baby level of conversation, and she's such a sweet lady. And I just wish I know that had I known more, that we could have had really fun. I mean, we had
Yes.
fun as it was, but we could have had an understanding that
A different
was missing.
level.
Yeah, a
Different
deeper level.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I can see that, and so the Pope, the John Paul II, that he had an advantage that way, that he could connect at least with 12 people groups or whatever.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That
love
is.
that one. But now here's the issue now, because right now people are actually talking about this being multilingual or polyglot. It's not necessarily good, some people say.
Oh,
Why? Because
really?
these people just start judging the accent, the
Oh,
dialect, or
oh,
even how they perceive this as a part of intelligence. Oh, so you don't speak
oh,
that well? That means you're not that smart. You understand?
oh. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm,
some people actually have this type of bias, this type of idea. As a multilingual, let's say, and I have a very good example because I have a friend. He speaks three languages, and he wanted to actually find a job as an English teacher.
uh-huh.
But they hear, or the company hear how he was speaking. And they heard the accent, and the accent was not like, oh, the most American of the American, like the Captain of America, or someone from the
Yeah,
UK. But
yeah,
of course, he knew the language,
yeah.
but he was
Oh,
judged by
I
that.
see that. Yes, and that happens in language schools. I know that. I know that does happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so maybe the other question. So, are you saying then you should they're only looking for native
Yeah,
speakers of the like?
yes, it is implied because it happens a lot. I'm not saying actually, I'm not gonna say, hey, no, no, the natives, they don't know actually how to do it, because
Mhm.
it's not about that. It's not about the native or the person, him or herself. It's about that judgment, that thing that is like in the back as a background, oh, he's not a native, so that means it's good. It's not good. It's like this. No,
Yeah,
no, no. We don't
yeah,
want that. And it happens a
right.
lot. And especially in Asia, we see that a lot.
Mm-hmm,
You got
mm-hmm,
one of the
yeah.
greatest teachers from India.
Uh-huh.
He's not gonna get hired because his accent, or
Uh-huh.
even any other person from the world. Suddenly, he is a multilingual, and his
Yeah,
accent will not be the same as a native, let's say native speaker, or that
yeah,
nativism, that native speaker
yeah,
accent. It's not gonna be the same. But
yeah,
because of this, it will
yeah,
generate this type of a bias or quite negative
yeah,
ideas. What do you think?
yeah.
What's your perspective on that?
Oh, well,
That's a hard one.
it is a hard one. I guess okay, for example, me in Hungary, there are many Hungarians teaching English. And I'm a native speaker, English speaker, and I kind of that's my selling point. You know,
And
I
it's okay. I
yeah,
do it too.
yeah, yeah. And so it's kind of I think it's yeah, definitely not black or white.
Yes.
But having said that, I had when I was teaching at the school here, the primary school
Mhm.
here, I had colleagues, they were all, I was the only American, and there were all these colleagues teaching English, and they had various levels of accents. Mainly just they were fine. And I think they were all good teachers, and it didn't matter that they had, some accent. And think that I don't think the bias, in that way that language schools should demand uh, no accent. But it's a hard one because I
Of
guess it
course.
depends how heavy, you know? And
The thing is that if we're going to be talking about the accent, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
what are you actually, what do you need for your school? Do you need
yeah.
an accent coach or you
Oh,
need a
yeah,
teacher,
that's exactly
right?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if you need an accent coach, definitely bring the native. But
yeah,
are you
for
looking for
sure.
a teacher, an educator, someone who have been actually teaching for years, good experience and everything?
Yeah, yeah,
Suddenly
yeah,
comes one of the new teachers, no
yeah,
experience, no TESOL, no TEFL,
yeah,
and the passport was heavier than the experience the
yeah,
other teacher had.
yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, that's not
That's
good.
the
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I would look, especially because I am a teacher, and I know that it's not just about speaking English. You know,
it goes
it's
beyond.
about, yeah, it's about the methodology and everything. And I think that's really important. And it's not good. It's not good when they are biased that way. They really should look at a good teacher, even if someone has an accent. And but you know what? Even the kids can be really judgy. That the kids can be judgy
Exactly.
too.
And that
Oh,
happens a lot. Exactly. Yeah. It's good that you brought it up now about the
yeah,
kids because that
yeah,
actually happens not because the kids have the idea of being judgmental in that sense,
yeah,
but because they hear it.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
actually comes out and say, "Hey, that guy doesn't sound very good. He doesn't
yeah,
sound native.
yeah, yeah,
Who's that
yeah,
guy? Who's
yeah.
that person?" No,
Right.
they hear it from adults, and that
Yeah,
idea stick in their minds,
yeah, yeah.
and it
You're
evolves.
right. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it does. And it's unfair then because there's a good teacher and
And that is the problem with the multilingual teachers.
yeah, yeah,
So they're
that's right.
multilingual. So being
Yeah,
multilingual instead of like being a pro, it's a
yeah.
con. It's something totally
Yeah,
negative. It goes
it can
backwards.
be. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of it in that way, but I agree. It is a problem. I can see. I mean, in my school, I saw people like that. Although I must say that Hungarians are pretty accepting, but yeah, they do want native speakers, whatever the language, that a
Hmm.
native German, a native, they do love, that's the premium.
Wow.
But they do definitely accept.
That happened all around the world.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah, the nativism actually is not going away. It will not fade away, at least in this century.
Yeah,
It's gonna be really hard. I've seen
yeah,
actually in LinkedIn, I don't know if you have the LinkedIn account as well.
I
I
do.
follow
Hmm.
many teachers there, professors, researchers as well. So I see them and I'm like, they all talk about, for example, today I just stumbled upon this uh, post about one of these teachers, a Brazilian teacher,
Uh-huh.
who's like nativism and still, and he posts something, a screenshot of a school looking for a teacher. Says, okay, the teacher needs to be like this. but native
Mm.
and good accent. And if you are non-native, you basically need to have the experience of a 60 years old person in a 20 years old body.
Which is, they're not going to find it. Crazy.
Exactly. It's another level. And he says, okay, I speak Portuguese, Spanish, English, and my accent maybe is not suitable for the ears, for their ears. So that means I'm not good.
Oh, yeah, that's sad.
That's
Very
the
sad.
other side. Exactly.
Yeah,
So now that's not good at all. So now continue
no.
with this. We have this in problem with the multilingual teachers or students, learners who are in this process or who already speak those languages. Um, do you really think learning multiple languages can delay cognitive decline? Have you heard about it?
Yes, I have heard about it, and uh, I think to me it makes sense that it would. And the reason being is that you're using more parts of your brain, right?
Yeah,
You're not just lighting up the one, language area.
exactly.
And I think if you just look at it that way logically, it
Mhm.
totally, makes sense. I don't know how much the research, definitely supports that, but it just makes sense. And it does require, because if you don't use the language, you do lose it, right? So I mean, so like my brothers, I speak better. Like my youngest brother, his Spanish is really, really bad, but he left. So actually he was young enough, he was doing really well, but then he left. Whereas I came at just the right time to South America, that I was then an adult when I left, and whereas he was still like a teenager and he wasn't using it. He still can pronounce things, but he doesn't remember anything.
Mhm.
And I think it's like a muscle. You can see, and I know that I go through stages like when I have a Peruvian friend here, and so when I'm with her, then all of a sudden, oh yeah, all the words are coming back and not English when she,
Mhm.
says the span is coming, I'm thinking in Spanish, and I feel like it's a muscle. And so in that way, I think after that, yeah, I remember things better, and but that's not scientific, but definitely, I know
But
that
it can be part of it. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
there's nothing that actually rejects that theory over
no,
there, but it can
yeah,
happen, right?
yeah,
I was also actually watching these type of things. I've been reading a couple of articles about it. A couple of doctors and neuroscientifics actually approve this thing. They say that it's like
yeah,
that, but there's still studies going
yeah,
on right now, but might be right. And that's really good. Now that you're
definitely.
in Hungary, the country over there, uh, promote multilingualism there?
Yes, yes, definitely. They do, but especially focus on English. It used to be
So
German
that's a
more.
single dominant language, basically, not multilingualism.
Well, okay. Okay, so definitely English. There's a big emphasis on English. But having said that, in Budapest, for example, there are several bilingual schools that aren't just English and Hungarian. They have German and Hungarian. They have a Chinese and Hungarian school. They have French and Hungarian. They have Spanish and Hungarian schools in Budapest. Now, this is in the countryside. It's more English, and German is the other language.
Mhm.
Um, but overall, I mean, English is the lingua, franca.
Lingua franca, yeah.
So yeah, um, so
Hard to beat
I
it.
can't, yeah, it's hard to be, but so, um, no, not just English, but English is the big one.
Got it.
Yeah,
But it's still
yeah,
promoted there.
yeah.
Now, as a final reflection that I would like to have here with you, if there's one thing you'd want the listeners to take away from this discussion, what would it be?
It's a good question. One thing. do whatever you can to be learning a language, to keeping that learn. If it's English, to get better at that, or any other, second language. It's worth it. It's worth the effort, and surround yourself with people. So don't give up. Make that effort in some way. And I mean, and either listening to podcasts like this, following people on Twitter.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Twitter's quite good because it gives exercises, or YouTube. Those are the big ones. Instagram,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
kinds of people. So yeah, make that effort, do it. It's worth it. And not just English, but any language. Don't just stay with one language.
Amazing.
It's important. Yeah.
Well, I think we just got to the end of this amazing conversation with you. It's been really, really good. It's an honor, and I'm really glad that I met you in this in this such a big world. Two
Yes.
people actually with quite the same roots over there, nationality
Yeah.
or the same
Yeah.
country over there.
Right. Right.
It's really, really fun, really good. So I
Yeah.
want to say thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
for helping this little corner grow up a little bit.
Good. Thank you so much. And I will continue, you know, following your podcast, and all, it's
Thank you
good,
very
and on
much.
X too. Yeah.
I will keep doing the same thing with you because today I was actually even checking some of the exercises that are really interesting. They're really good
Yeah.
for the kids to learn, huh?
Yes. Yes. Use them. Use them.
Yeah, I actually use them. In fact, I use them with the kids, with the some of the KET students.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
put them
Yeah.
over there just to like warm up or something
Oh,
like
well,
it,
that's
as an
great.
icebreaker over there. Okay, let's see who
Right.
can do this. I'll give you uh gummy bears here. Okay,
Yeah.
who
Oh,
wants the
yeah.
gummy bears? All right, who
Oh,
can do
that
this
is,
one? That's how I
yeah.
use
Well,
your exercises.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I've made it kind of general, but kids for sure, good. Do it. I'm so happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually use a lot of those things in the class, to be honest. And before we're heading to the final part of this episode, let me remind you that new episodes drop every Monday and Friday, so make sure to tune in weekly for your dose of thought provoking conversations. You can find our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Don't forget to pay a visit to our website, MikeEnglishOnline.com, where you will find tons of resources for daily learning or teaching. And if you're also interested in some reliable and really deep and interesting teaching training, please let us know and let us help you. Let's just build up our career with a different perspective from real teachers. So, subscribe, rate, and follow us for more. So, my great listeners, I gotta say thanks for tuning in to this part 2 of this 2-part series of episode 88, 89, with our great guest, great teacher, great colleague, Yolanda Nakari, who has actually shared her personal views, her experience here with us. All right? Thanks a lot. And if you got more comments or questions about this episode or any other episode, don't forget to leave it on the comment section. All right? We're here. Let's just connect and let's stay tuned. Why is that? Because we got more guests, really interesting guests, really amazing guests, more wonderful teachers worldwide, just waiting there. So stay tuned because another teacher is coming, a teacher that for sure most of you know already. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and as I always say, keep learning, keep teaching, keep enjoying, and don't forget to tune in to the Languages Pedagogy Podcast.